Hello and welcome to another weekly update. Plenty of interesting new things to talk about this week again, so let's get straight into it. The first thing is something I announced a couple of days ago. I'm going to be speaking at Microsoft Ignite, the tour. Now, if you haven't heard of this, I have talked about it on one of these. It was before Christmas now, but obviously there's Microsoft Ignite that happens every year in the US, but not everybody can get to Ignite. So what Microsoft do is they take Ignite to you in a number of cities around the world, and a lot of it is the same content, but it's not necessarily the same speakers. So it's the same information, it's the same messaging, and it's the same kind of how-tos and information that you'd get out of Ignite, but it's often using local speakers or it's using different speakers. And I'm super excited to be able to tell you that I'm going to be speaking at Microsoft Ignite, the tour in Tel Aviv in Israel. So not entirely local for me, but very excited to have the opportunity to go and speak in Tel Aviv. Not somewhere I've been to before. Very exciting place in the world for innovation and technology at the moment. So kind of very excited about that. It's January the 22nd and 23rd if you're able to make it. I'm going to be doing a couple of different things. So I'm going to be talking on the first session of the day in this track, which is what's new in Microsoft Teams, the hub for teamwork. So I'm going to be going over and recapping some of the new announcements that have come in Teams recently, and also looking at some of the things that are coming in the near future as well. So lots of demos there as well, so that should be exciting. I'm also doing a deep dive about building an IVR experience, an IVR bot in Teams. So something that Teams users can call that answers. They can call, with audio, and it answers, and they can use their keypad to kind of take action on things. So that's not something I've talked about before anywhere. It's very new functionality. It's come to the Teams API, and the calling API. It's still in preview. You won't find much information about this anywhere else. I do have some blog posts lined up all covering it, but I want to give this talk first, and then following kind of some of the feedback from that talk and how that talk goes, I'll then publish those blog posts. So Tel Aviv guys, you're going to be first to hear about this, so that should be exciting. And then I'm also doing a couple of other 15-minute sessions, one on creating a Teams IVR bot, again distilling some of that 60-minute session into a 15-minute very kind of quick run, bam bam bam, here's what it can do. And also another session talking about the developer platform in Teams and my top 5 features. So all that should be really fun and interesting. Massively looking forward to it. I still have some preparation to do, so I'm not at all panicking, because it's still in a couple of weeks' time. Just looking at the calendar there, a little while to go yet. So that's coming up, and that's at the Tel Aviv Convention Centre, January 22nd, 23rd. So that's definitely one to look out for. All right, other news. So a couple of days ago, Microsoft GA'd shifts coming into Teams and frontline worker capabilities in Teams. This was announced at Ignite. I am going to be talking about this actually in that talk I just spoke about in Tel Aviv. I'm going to be showing you some cool stuff you can do with shifts in Teams. But for now, there's a blog post on the tech community page with some great screenshots in that really kind of show some of the things you can do around for shift workers. So things like being able to swap shifts and have managers approve shift changes. Lots of things around integration as well for shifts. And really the announcement is just saying that this stuff that was announced at Ignite is now rolling out, and it is available kind of to everybody. It might take a while to roll out in your region. It's just one of those things. So shifts is available today. Some of the other things, so there's a graph API for shifts that is going to come to public preview this quarter. And then there's some other stuff as well that's also rolling out this quarter. So things like praise for frontline workers. You can kind of praise people and say thank you for doing something or for solving a particular problem. So all that stuff is coming and rolling out now. So that's kind of hugely exciting to see, and I think that's going to make a really big difference for how Teams gets used. So many people are frontline workers. I think 2.5 billion people, I want to say, are frontline workers. So those are things like nurses and kind of retail staff and experts, and And often those people are the forefront of your organization. You know, they're the first thing the customer sees, but also too often they have the worst equipment, they have the worst kind of experience to get their jobs done. And Teams is going to really change that by giving them, you know, the same power of tools, but it's in a way that's adapted to them and is right for the work that they do. So that's hugely exciting. All right, other news for developers concerns GitHub. And we talked a while ago about GitHub being acquired by Microsoft. We're seeing now some of the kind of changes that come from that. And one of those is that for GitHub users, you can now have unlimited private repositories on the free plan. Now this is huge because I suspect for lots of people that's the reason they're paying for GitHub. Certainly for me, that's the reason I was paying for GitHub, is for the unlimited private repos, because often I'll create stuff and I do want to share it, and it will form part of a blog post or it will form part of a code drop that I am sharing, but I'm not quite ready to share it yet. I want to make sure everything's right. I want to make sure it compiles. I want to make sure I've taken out all the like the config keys and the stuff that shouldn't be in there. So I'll often work on a repo before making it public. So having private repos was important for me. That's why I was paying for the GitHub plan. Now that kind of GitHub is part of Microsoft, I guess maybe they don't need to worry quite so much about where the money's coming from, and maybe GitHub is not a revenue generation source for Microsoft, so they can afford to do things like this and give developers unlimited repos for free. So you can actually now go and downgrade your account without losing your free repos, your private repos. And I've done this yesterday. It works fine. There are some things you will lose access to, some code review tools, and I think there's a limit on the number of people who can be collaborators. But if you're not worried about that, and I'm certainly not worried about that, then you can downgrade to free, save yourself a little bit of money every month, and continue to have those unlimited repos. So I've done that yesterday. That's great to see. Thanks to Microsoft for that. It definitely kind of helps with some of the, it's quite a competitive space kind of for code repositories. There's things like GitLab and there's Bitbucket as well. So there are a few other players here. So it makes GitHub more competitive. But it's also, I think, Microsoft doing the right thing. They don't, let's be honest, they don't super need the money out of developers. So kind of not making them pay $7 a month is kind of a good one. All right, that's everything I wanted to talk about this week. So have an excellent week next week. I'm excited to see some of the stuff that I think that's going to come out next week as well. Yeah, so all in all, it's going to be a good week. Have a great weekend, and I will talk to you again next time.